Welcome to this edition of For the Clarity and Closure of the Viewer's Comments. First comment comes from someone named XR4 Jersey. And they say, I really enjoyed listening to this style of relaxed teaching. And they're referring to, I think it was a grammar video I put out. And they said, I have full closure on the particle PRO now. You don't sound angry or upset and not spitting your words out like you're dealing with trolls. It's a very pleasant change of style, but must admit have been spoon-fed, LOL. And then my cooliona to that was, I don't recall ever spitting my words out or being upset, angry. Perception is an interesting and unique thing. And that's why I published this comment, because I have no really surety over how someone else perceives the way I'm speaking or presenting myself. I may know how I'm actually presenting myself, meaning self-observation, how I feel at the moment, so on and so forth. But how someone else perceives that could be totally different. And this is a perfect example of that. They're basically saying that they think that I sound angry or upset and that I spit my words out in perhaps videos like this where I'm responding to a negative type of energy or a negative type of comment. However, from my perspective, I'm not angry at all. I don't get angry. I don't get upset. And I don't ever recall spitting my words out. You know, I've never had to wipe my computer screen to get the saliva off of it. So, yeah, I mean, that's XR4 Jersey's perception. This really causes me to wonder about XR4 Jersey themselves. Like the type of individual they are, like what they're used to. If they perceive the way I present myself in those videos that they're talking about, if they perceive that as being angry, upset, and spitting words out, then I wonder, you know, like what type of individual they're used to dealing with. Because we all deal with different types of individuals, you know, and maybe some folks have dealt with harsher things in their lives. Because, you know, the people around me could tell you that if I'm angry, you'll know it. There's a clear line of behavior between how I act in these videos or how I'm presenting myself in these videos and being angry. And never once have I ever been angry in a video or upset in a video. Yeah, there's a clear distinction there. So that's just very interesting. They must not be used to dealing with people who are actually literally angry and upset. Like literally raising their voices and yelling, and the threat of violence is there, you know, and things like that. It's just very interesting. And I thought I'd share that. Thanks for the comment, XR4 Jersey, and thanks for the membership. Jimmy Dobbs says, you better loose. That Grangan music alters your perception. And then I correct their adverb, verb, adjective, pronoun, fiction, babble, spelling. So many people do this. So many people nowadays. Like I'd say over 50% of people use the word L-O-O-S-E when the word they actually mean is L-O-S-E. And Jimmy Dobbs is no exception. No wonder they haven't learned quantum grammar or not even one little iota of it. They don't even know plain simple English. Another one from Jimmy Dobbs, another multifaceted, grammatically complex gem, and they say, you're wrong. You can read syntax like that. Stop public humiliating. You are not a teacher. And then again, I correct them. YOU apostrophe R-E. You are wrong, Jimmy Dobbs. Another teaching moment brought to you by a teaching channel that's been on the internet since February of 2018. Actually, December of 2017. But you're welcome, Jimmy Dobbs. You're welcome. This one comes from someone named Pulcha9939, and this was a comment on a poll that I put up. I said, when is it acceptable to end another human being's life? And they say it's never acceptable and never just as you become the perpetrator yourself. Keter and Malkut are interchangeable like the alternated current, the light, the sinusoid, cone, sinusoid crossover, the sound in the ether. Okay. Right off the bat, what in the blue hell is this individual talking about? And this is what I mean by people not reading the community guidelines. It's a given. I know people aren't going to read community guidelines. I know they aren't. However, that's not going to stop me from bringing it up over and over again to try and teach this type of etiquette so that folks like Pulcha perhaps learn this type of etiquette and know the terms and conditions of a venue or a domain before they enter into it, before they throw their hat in, before they open their mouth. Okay? So they're saying it's never acceptable and never just to end another human being's life. And then they try to go into some sort of explanation. But here's the thing about contract. And I went into a recent live stream that I did. Why would you ever agree to a contract where you don't understand the terms and conditions? Or you haven't read them? Why would you do that? So in this case, I don't know what a Keter is. I don't know what a Malkut is. I don't know what they're talking about, sinusoid, cosinusoid crossover. I mean, I vaguely have a concept of what that means, maybe in an electrical sense. But to put it together in a context of what they're talking about as far as justifying or being acceptable to end another human being's life, I don't know what that is, how they're drawing this connection here. If you're in your home, minding your own business, you and your family are asleep, out of nowhere, someone or a group of someone's break into your house with weapons and they threaten to harm your family. And you have an opportunity to stop that harm. What's Pulcher going to do? Sit idly by because it's not acceptable or just? Because they're going to become the perpetrator? So yeah, go ahead and just hurt my family. Go ahead. Because I don't, it's not acceptable for me to defend them or to be a protector or to do what it takes to step up to the plate. It's just because Keter and Malkut are interchangeable. The sound in the ether, or so on and so forth. Or are you going to do what it takes to stop the trespass? And that's the bottom line of correct sentence structure, communication, PARSE, syntax, grammar, is stopping trespass. And so I'm bringing this into a different domain, not the domain of the written document, but into the actual domain of the physical environment. Same thing applies. A trespass occurs, danger is occurring, harm is occurring. You are well within your position to stop that. So let's see what else they have to say. They say, the power of thought, the I am, creates the egregore like the religion, etc. I saw a video of RJG stating that he would have killed Fauci for his atrocities. Okay. I mean, that goes into the theoretical belief system that perhaps your psyche, the way you think, manifests into what happens in your life. Okay, I can understand that. But then they start quoting the Bible. And if they had done any type of research, if they had done any type of consideration and read the community guidelines, they would know that this is a very quick and fast way to get yourself jettisoned from this channel, because this channel is a channel of practicality. It's a channel of fact. It's not a channel where you can come on and just start espousing your own personal belief systems, or quoting the Bible or the Lord of the Rings or the Chronicles of Narnia or the Chronicles of Thomas Covenant or the Sword of Shannara or Star Wars or any other fantasy texts that you would like to quote. This is not the place for that. Okay? 2 Bible quotes. Communism based on somebody's presumption, prejudice, and opinion, your or my opinion doesn't make it a fact. Well, no shit. Tell that to the intruders trying to murder your family. Okay? Where's your opinion then? All that stuff's off the table. And again, like I mentioned in another video, folks that respond like this, I'm guessing, have probably never been in a situation like that, like a violent, on-the-spot situation where they had to make split-second choices in a matter of life or death. Probably never been in that situation. So they can sit here and speculate and judge everybody else as to what they're doing. The grammar is the grimoire, the witchcraft. You correct or you stand corrected. Logical fallacy, folks. Either or logical fallacy. It's either this or it's either that, which is not the case. It's not the case. And this right here is a complete opinion. Just like they just said. Doesn't make it a fact. This person thinks that grammar is the grimoire, the witchcraft. They think grammar is witchcraft. Interesting. The value of a thing is what you ascribe to it. That's complete 100% fiction psychology mindset. Also, the concept of the monad oversoul. Again, what in the blue hell are we talking about here? As one like the Prima Madeira, the Saturn Santa Claus closure, the point is the law of attraction and lack of accountability. Have a good day. That's pretty funny. Have a good day. Don't tell me what to do. Why are you going to tell me what to do, bro? You the boss of me? Is that what you think? You know what's best for me? Have a good day. How dare you? So, I don't know. I really, quite honestly, even to take the cheekiness and sarcasm out of what I'm saying, I don't know what they're talking about here. Lack of accountability. How is there a lack of accountability? If someone breaks into my home, or if I'm walking down the street and I see an assault happening and I step in and I have to make certain choices in that situation to protect someone who's being attacked and end the life of the attacker, how is that lacking accountability? I'm taking accountability for it. I'm making that choice. I'm taking action to help someone, to stop trespass. Law of attraction, I mean, in theory, I can cognize what they're saying is that if you walk around with a negative attitude, you're going to attract negative scenarios. If you walk around with a positive attitude, you're going to attract positive scenarios. I can get with that to a point. But here's the thing. I feel that I'm very practical and realistic. And I'm prepared to do what it takes to defend myself or my loved ones. You know, the last time I've been in a physical confrontation, ever since I had this attitude, developed this attitude of I'll do what it takes to stop the trespass. I have not been in a physical altercation in over a decade. I have not been pulled over by a police officer since 2014. I've never been in a car accident. I mean, definitely, I've seen people who are negative all the time. Of course, negative things keep happening to them. But that has to do with choices also. Same thing with positivity. Some people are irrepressibly positive and they just live a good life. That's awesome. Awesome for them. But then other people, who seem to be really positive, all of a sudden, they get very ill for some reason. And maybe even a life-threatening mortal illness. How's that work? Okay, here's one. The law of attraction and lack of accountability. Pulcha. How do you explain the children on the Gaza Strip? Did they attract that environment by their thinking? Or any child that's put in a situation of abuse? Yeah, that little theory falls apart. And this is not the channel with which to share your own personal belief systems, and especially not the place to share Bible verses. So there will certainly be no more Bible verses from you on this channel. I will not post them. Next comment comes from Tony Montana. And it's a comment on the same post where I say, when is it acceptable, justifiable to end another human life? And then Tony Montana says, it isn't. And then I say, acceptable in the sense of justifiable. And then they say, you mean metaphorical, so to speak. Depends on timing then. That split-second decision that gives you divine jurisdiction to symbiotically act out. So what of? When things aren't just judged in seconds. It still may not be clear. I could be an old blind dude with a sword. And then they say, I'm not into semantics. And then I say, well, you're obviously not into defending yourself or your family either, or common communication. Thanks for commenting and sharing your expertise. And then they say, I'm sitting in my stone hut in Iona, and this feather-wearing, red-skinned weirdo approaches on what isn't a coracle. He gets off, takes out an axe, and runs at me shouting, woo, woo, woo. What do I do? Get my meaning yet? What would you do? Then I'll debate semantic. Well, Tony Montana, in the scenario you just mentioned, in the hypothetical scenario of a feather-wearing, red-skinned weirdo, which, by the way, are you referring to a Native American, a First Nations, red-skinned, feather-wearing? Because I don't know if you know this. I'm married to a Native American from the Algonquin Mohawk tribe. So that's interesting that you say that. I wonder if you said that on purpose. So if someone like that was running at me with an axe, shouting woo, 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 well, if I had a firearm on me, I would definitely use the firearm to stop the attack, because that's perceiving it to be an attack. Who wouldn't perceive it to be an attack? And if I didn't have a firearm, then I would take appropriate measures to engage, evade, grapple. I always do carry several blades, so I would probably use one of those and take the appropriate amount of force to stop the attack. Now, whether that means their life ends or my life ends, I can't say. I don't know. It just depends. I'm not going to go above and beyond, for sure, if it's just an axe. If I'm able to win the grappling exchange and wound them or hurt them in such a way that I'm able to get control of their weapon and get them nullify their access to that weapon and have them on the ground, and there's no one else around, there's no other attackers, there's no other anyone in the vicinity, then I would probably just choke them out or something. You know what? Scratch that. The first thing I would do if I saw what you said, a redskin weirdo with an axe wearing a feather, the first thing I would do is get out my phone and film it. That's what I would do. Never mind. Oh, I think I am. I'm doing it right now. Nay, bother at all. Are they autistic? And by the way, I don't mean that in a negative sense at all. AU is authority, okay? Keep that in mind. If you know someone out there, who's autistic or you yourself is autistic, I prefer to think of it this way. You're a specialist. You can do things better in a specialized area that no one else can. So in the medical field or even in the generalized population field, people feel like autistic children or whatever are special. Well, you're damn right they are. They are special. They specialize in things. And there's nothing wrong with that. Why is it treated like it's not an ability, a disability? I think that's completely off base. So just so we get that straight. So I'm wondering if they are autistic in some way. And then they say, what a crass comment from someone who proclaims to know it language. You might separate your PS from your Q's there, pal. Then wit. I before E except after C. I think I can communicate quite well, thanks. Well, you can think what you want, but the reality of it is quite different. Or not communicate. I was trying to. Maybe you're deaf, mute, and I'm blind. We should help each other. No debate when it's cool to pop a cap in each other. Come on, I expect more from you. And then I say, I get it. You are the type that, apropos of nothing, just likes to go onto random YouTube channels and argue. I'm happy to provide you with a place to practice because you're not very good at it. Keep trying. And they say, you don't know anything about my family. So don't be flippant and cheeky, and I won't be. And then I said, speaking of crass, would you like a Kleenex? I know I would, because every time I don't live up to some clever internet keyboard warrior's expectations, I shed one single tear. You choose to be here on my channel, leaving comments. Take your man pants out of your boyfriend's purse and keep your chin up. By all means, keep responding. So at this point, I'm not taking this individual serious at all. I'm just basically having fun with it. Then I say I expect nothing less from an individual who hides behind a nom de guerre. Folks like that usually have a massive sense of entitlement, and this character is no exception. They just spammed 4 or 5 comments in a row. Apparently they are a bit poofy after all. Oh yeah, they just kept sending comments, which I just kept deleting. So then they say, keep the insults in brackets, I see. Nice. And then I say, this troll has left at least 8 comments that I didn't publish, and here they are still commenting. This is extremely helpful to the algorithm. You know I hit a nerve when somebody completely ignorant of correct sentence structure, communication, parsing, syntax, grammar starts bringing grammar into a thread like this. Keep going, whomever you are. By the way, did you take your husband's last name, Montana? And then they say, I didn't pick your channel randomly having followed you. This silly Baul Moors. What? The silly Hawaiian indigenous Heinz 57 variety lucky bag of survivors of the Freeman Live Life claimants, LOL, etc. since 1666. Liveval fiction facts. Masonic court nonsense peddlers, the end dude, lol. Yawn. In fact, I've been watching you, David Russell, Marky Boy, or anyone else rearing their digital head since inception. Sunny. I've really been watching you all since 1995 closely. So I've been on the internet since, well, I mean, in the quantum grammar domain since December of 2017, yet they've been watching me since 1995. 1995. What was I doing in 1995? I was playing grunge professionally in a cover band touring the tri-state area in 1995. But they were watching me, so thanks for coming out to the shows there, Montana. I appreciate your patronage. And after you consume the Clovis people. No idea what that means. Last time, that was after your dispersal from here, 1912 or so, due to witchcraft issues, long story. To your fateful arrival there, lol, I thought, ooh, coincidentally 1995, that's when my cousin started CERN up in Texas. He was a wanker as well. So my quantum arse, I don't know your quantum monkey piss phonetic lol. I do know all about it. That Mari Povich and anyone else on this channel who has a rudimentary closure on quantum grammar knows that is a lie. Montana doesn't know all about shit. Smells of sulfur. Smells of poo-poo. So how did you obtain Benny's bed sheets then? Come on, did you save America by popping Cap and Nixon's ass back then? Is that your pirate flag from the old military-style manual Pastor John left in the bog after the Crusaders? Or are you just channeling Uncle, or worse, time shall tell, meantime don't assume shit you don't know about. I didn't F the... What? Yeah, this individual, I don't think... There are about 52 cards in the minor arcana, or I mean the regular deck of playing cards, and they're definitely short. They're definitely short a few. And then I say, little bro is cooked apparently. Fried to a crisp. No doubt. Look at that. Look at that. If you can make sense of what this says, I'll give you a prize. If you can make sense of this comment here, if you can explain everything in this comment, you can email me at jsmatg17@gmail.com and I'll send you a prize.